Hey y'all, do you want your kids to be kind, respectful, able to fully reach their potential, great global citizens? Or are your kids going to end up in juvenile detention? The contrast is that stark. Between the ages of birth and 5 years old are the most influential years in your child's life. It's the foundational years, and you have to get those right. Check out my latest video for the top 5 things you can do with your child from birth to 5 to make sure they start off on the right path and they reach success. Hi, I'm Lindy. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my channel is about giving tips, tricks, and pointers and advice to parents so that they can help their children reach the highest heights of success, both academically and in life. Today's topic is maximizing the years from birth to 5, really before the kids get to kindergarten. What are the top 5 nuggets of things to do prior to the kids going off to school out of your home? So right when you bring them home from the hospital, all the way until they're ready to go off to kindergarten is what this video is focused on. If that's something that interests you, like this video, comment below, be sure to subscribe, and click on the bell so that you'll be notified every Wednesday when my new videos drop. So top 5 things to do to maximize the years from birth to 5. Number 1, you have to establish from day 1 who the boss is. Who is the boss? That's number 1. So what that looks like when a baby is an infant is that means putting them in their crib from the hospital. Don't let the baby sleep in your bed. Don't have the baby sleeping in, unless there's a health reason, in a bassinet in your room. The baby should be in its own room, in its own crib, and be comfortable sleeping there on its own. Now that's not going to happen overnight unless you're lucky. It may take a few days before the baby settles down and stops crying and is able to go to sleep on their own, but that is a huge leap to be able to have the child sleep in their own crib and really plant the seeds of independence for that child and self-reliance so they know they can get themselves to sleep. And on the flip side of that, that allows you to sleep, which means you can become a better parent because you're not frazzled as much as you would be as if the baby were in the bed with you and you're afraid to turn over, afraid to move because you might wake the baby up. So number 1, put the baby in its crib when it comes home from the hospital. Number 2 is develop a routine that you stick to religiously. That is so important. Babies and kids thrive, and even bigger kids thrive on routine because they know what to expect. It's predictable. So there should be a time that you get up in the morning. There should be set meal times, play times, winding down, bath, and going to bed. Those are the key milestones that need to be hit throughout the day. And once those are established, things just run so much smoother because the baby knows what to expect. They know, okay, I just woke up from my nap, so now we're going to read a book. Or I just took my bath, that means I'm calming down and it's getting dark, and that means I'm getting ready for bed. So establishing routine from the get-go is really, really, really important. Number 3 tip I have for you is focus on reading. I think that's one of the biggest things we can do as we prepare our children's minds for academics is to read to them every day, multiple times a day. I know for my baby showers, I always requested that each guest bring a book for the library because I wanted to build a library for each one of my children. And we just end up having so many kids' books, so we just read throughout the day. And the more you read to kids, the more curious they are about reading themselves. So each one of my 3 kids learned to read when they were 3 years old because I used a series of books called Bob Books, and I'll put that link below. But they were books that really, it's kind of like the modern day Jane books, See Jane Run, See Spot Run, those types of books, but more interesting and modernized. So using those and reading to the children every single day, multiple times a day, had them reading by 3. And that's great, but it's something that every parent can do to their child. If you know how to read, you should be able to read to your child multiple times a day. That's one of the best things you can do. It helps with their vocabulary, it helps with their imagination, it helps them focus and pay attention to something and understand what it means to kind of have a give or take with another person. So reading is essential. Number 4, expose and socialize your child to as many things as possible prior to pre-K or kindergarten. So that means it can be just a wide plethora of things. I mean, you can take them to the mall, obviously. That's probably something we all do. But I'm talking about places like the zoo, the pet store, the park, going to amusement parks, flower gardens, libraries. I mean, there's so many different places. Train stations, taking them on a bus for the first time, exposing them to a city versus a farm, those sorts of things, so they can start to understand that the world is a big, wide, interesting, colorful, loud, and fun place to be. And there's so much learning you can do at each one of those places. I mean, you can build in lessons for each place that you take your child to. When my kids were small, between 0 and 5, I would make flashcards of whatever we were going to do. For example, if we were going to go to the Children's Museum in our city, I would make flashcards and figure out I would go online and see what the exhibits were, and then make flashcards that related to where we were going to be. So just integrate all types of learning into whatever you're exposing your child to. That's priming their brain, getting them ready to go off to formalized school. It's super important to get them ready and to expose them. It's a developmental tool. And last but not least, I would say start teaching responsibility early. This is really from the 3 to 5 year old range. Give them simple chores. There's little miniature brooms you can buy. There's miniature mops you can buy. They can help you load and unload the dishwasher. They can help you cook. They can help you feed the dog, those sorts of things. Get the child engaged early in understanding that there's chores to be done. All of my children were washing their own clothes when they were 6. When they went to kindergarten, they had to graduate to, okay, I'm washing my own clothes, I'm putting them in the dryer, I'm folding them, and I'm putting them away. And that's something that we just stuck with each one of the children, because they can do it. Kids can do so much more than we think they can do. They can help cook. Now, I wouldn't give them a sharp knife, of course, but they can help you organize, sort, wash vegetables, those sorts of things, set the table. I mean, they should be integrated into the chores of the household at a very early age, so that it's just part of what they do as they grow up. So those are my top 5 things I would recommend parents do for their children between the ages of 0 and 5 when they formally leave the house to go to school.